Hello friends. I hope the wind isn't too bad and that you can hear me. It's been awfully windy. This whole week has been very windy. I really need to burn in the burn barrel, but I can't do that because it's too windy. I'm having to look at the ground a lot. It's pretty rocky here. See, that's what I'm walking on. What a lot of this land is like. Today, this morning, I thought I would talk about the homesteading and creativity. You know, a lot of times the homesteading channels, we talk about all the chores, and yeah, there are a lot of mundane chores. I mean, you gotta let the chickens out every morning, and you gotta put them up every night, and you gotta feed the animals, and I mean, just like any job, it's very routine. But unlike living in the city, you need a lot of creativity. Because things can go wrong. When I lived in an apartment and something went wrong, I called the maintenance man. And he came and he fixed it. And then I went on about my day. Here, no, there's no maintenance man. It's up to me. Now, thankfully, I've got some great neighbors. I have one neighbor a couple miles away. And they often, they've helped me in so many ways fix, leaky pipes, buildings that need repair. This rabbit colony building, they actually helped build it, and it is 100% recycled or warped wood. Nothing, not a piece of wood in that building. It was new and not warped. They helped, they built it for me. But a lot of what I asked him to do, or I do myself, it's because of the creative processes. You see a problem and you address it. When I first had my vegetable garden built, I paid somebody to install the fencing, and I wanted a water spigot. And it was installed in this area right here. And it worked great. I could go in, I could get water, I hooked up the hoses, watered the garden, it worked great. And then a friend came out here, and he first came out here to build a goat enclosure for me. Then he started on this chicken coop, and we built the chicken coop right next to the garden. And at the time, and I continue to do this during the summer months, because when it gets in the hundreds, I can tell the chickens are thirsty at night. But at one time, their only source of water was these buckets that I kept inside the coop. I would feed the chickens inside the coop, and their water was inside the coop. And it's just 5-gallon buckets I would fill and carry over here and dump in there. It was a lot of work, but I had to fill them all the way over. You can see where the garden gate is. That's where the water spigot was. And I had to travel that entire distance. And sometimes in the summer, I had a water bucket on either side of these coops, both sections. So I had 10 gallons of water. There were times in the middle of summer where they would go empty really fast, and I was having to carry them, and it was hard. And I kept doing it, but it was tedious and it was hard. Well, then I started having a problem with the spigot in the garden. The dang thing leaked. We tried tightening it. We changed things out. We did everything possible to get the stupid spigot to stop leaking. Nothing worked. If the water was actually turned on, which, I mean, I would leave the water turned on all the time. The same hose feeds the water trough down there. And so I would leave this whole water system on, and I would often just leave the faucet on, especially during the summer. During the winter, I would turn it off. But in the summer, when I was having to water every single day, I just left it on. In fact, for a while there, I had automatic systems. You know, you can get these timers at Lowe's or Home Depot, and it will make your sprinklers come on at certain times. And I was having them come on in, you know, like 5 a.m. in the morning, and then in the late afternoon as the sun was going down. I was watering things twice a day because it was just, you know, it gets hot here in the summer. And so it just dripped all the time, and I had, you know, some really good grass and stuff growing right underneath it. Well, ooh, it is windy. Let's see if I back up a little bit here. Well, you know, we tried and tried and tried to get that spigot to stop dripping, and nothing worked. Absolutely nothing worked. Well, one day an idea hit me. The chickens often would run out of water unexpectedly. You know, I would forget to check for a day, and then their behavior would tell me they were thirsty. Really thirsty. You know, I would discover their things empty, fill them up, and the whole entire flock would be there and they're drinking. One day it occurred to me I could use that drippy faucet to my advantage. And so I asked my friends to move the faucet over here. So basically, the faucet was rerouted from here to over here. We tied it, my friends tied it in right here. It had been tied, you know, over here. Actually, that's the original place, and then we tied it to the stock tank, because when the garden was built, there was no goat enclosure. But my friends rerouted it. You can see the black hose right here, and moved the whole thing over here. And then I put one of these tubs you can buy at Home Depot, any hardware store where you can buy mortar. It's for mixing mortar, basically, or little teeny bits of cement, but mostly mortar. I use them for a lot of other different purposes, but it's under the hose, and I've taken off this hose. I took this hose off yesterday because it has a hole in it, and so every time I would water the garden, anything, I would get like a soaker hose sprinkler shooting out and get me wet. So I removed it yesterday. I'm going to replace it with a different hose. And there's the hose on the ground. But so this thing, and sometimes it stops dripping, and then other times it starts dripping again. Hasn't dripped a lot this year, but might be because it's so corroded up there. But it started dripping in here, and it became an automatic chicken waterer. My problem, I had two problems. Keeping these chickens with water all summer long so they wouldn't get thirsty, and the stupid dripping faucet. I took both of those problems and created an automatic chicken waterer. Two problems became a brilliant solution. And I thought about this idea, I remembered all this yesterday. I don't know if any of you watch Justin Rhodes. I'm sure a few of you do. In fact, I know a few of you do, but for those who don't know Justin Rhodes, he has a huge YouTube channel. Very, very big in the homesteading world. And yesterday he did a video on his 3 ways he waters his chickens, his most 3 favorite ways of watering his chickens and other livestock, but mainly chickens, in the wintertime. 2 are, the typical thing everybody uses. But the 3rd one, he took a problem of the water freezing, thought about nature and what he has on his land, and solved it. Which is, he takes water, he sucks water out of a creek, it goes downhill into this little water trough that the pigs and chickens can drink out of, and then it goes through another hose down to a pond. That solution is working for him. He used creativity to solve a problem. I don't have a water source like that. I mean, let me get out of the wind here. I cannot do anything even remotely like that. But I do have a drippy faucet. I used what I have access to come up with a solution. And that's creativity. Whatever your problem is, if you have a homestead and you're looking at a problem, if you're a praying person, ask God for help. Ask God to give you insight on how to solve the problem. I do that all the time. But whether you pray or not, look around. How can you solve that problem in a creative way? Because there is a creative solution. Or there's a fix, one of the 2. But there's so many ways. I mean, creativity is so vital on the homestead. Finding creative ways to solve your problems. I had a problem with, rabbits poop. So under this rabbit hutch is all those little balls. That's rabbit poop. And that stuff is gold. It's worth money. There are people who will pay for it or trade for it. But I've got rocky soil, and it was a problem getting it all up without, trying to get it up without all the rocks. Well, I got an idea. I use the same kind of trays. Actually, I've been cleaning out. This one was almost full. I've been cleaning it out. As soon as there's no rabbits in this hutch right now, so I need to move it over to the other hutches. These are bigger ones. So the rabbits just poop right in there, and I can just use the shovel right here and scoop it up. Works real well. That's using creativity to solve a problem. So whether you are homesteading in the country, homesteading in the city, not homesteading at all, and just living your life, when you have problems, try to come up with a creative solution instead of just going out and buying something else. Or you might have a really inexpensive, creative way of solving that problem. I got this idea off of another channel, which I will link. But I had holes. We just used more of the same similar wire that I had from a different project, left over, scrap, really garbage, and wired the holes closed. Back there, the floor was actually developed a hole, rotted out and developed a hole. Did the same thing. My neighbor came over and helped me accomplish the task because it kind of required 2 sets of arms. But creativity solves a lot of problems and can save you a lot of money, and is an absolute, absolute necessity on the homestead. And so I just wanted to share that with you. My little creativity projects. Finally, the last thing I want to share, and as I was getting ready, this girl, I don't know if you can see her, lawnmower, just pulled my ponytail. She grabbed it. That used to happen all the time, and this goat stopped doing it. Well, she just grabbed my ponytail and pulled. And I turned around and I hit her and said no. And Prairie immediately ran over here and protected me from lawnmower. She basically, she was on my back at first trying to protect me, and then she got on the table. I've never seen this behavior from her towards the goats. Lawnmower will butt. She's not afraid of dogs. So it's kind of surprising that Prairie took action when I hit lawnmower and yelled no when she, grabbed my ponytail and pulled. So I thought that was interesting. But back to our topic of creativity on the homestead. A lot of people get into homesteading because they are very creative. They're crafting people. Some people get either Angora goats or sheep because they want to spin wool and make things out of it. Other people do other things, sewing and stuff. I don't have the crafting bug. I've never had it. I struggle with, I want to do crafts. I love the results. I want to do it so bad, but I just never follow through. It just, when I have free time, I choose to do something else. And I've got several projects in there the craft projects that I want to do. I bought supplies. It's awfully windy. Sorry about that, folks. They said it was going to get windy today, and they weren't kidding. It's like every minute it's getting windier and windier. I couldn't find any place that the wind it won't cease. So I'm now in my truck, and I'll finish up in here. What I was trying to share was that I'm not a crafty person, but a lot of homesteaders are. And if you're really into crafts, there's a few really good channels to watch that can give you all sorts of ideas and teach you how to do things. And I wanted to share one of those, a young channel just like mine that I just learned about this week, or a couple weeks ago, I guess. Canterbury Trails Homestead, I think that's what they're called. I will put a link. I saw a video just a few days ago, and I watched it because she said she was going to show us how to make yo-yos or something like that. Never heard of it. I don't sew, and this is a sewing project. She makes these little round puffy things with a big circle of fabric, and then she sews them all together, and she's making a quilt. And I enjoyed watching that video because I never heard of that. I'll never do it, but I never heard of it. But for those of you who are crafty, who like to sew or do other kinds of crafts, please check out this channel. It's a good little channel, and you might enjoy it. So I just wanted to give that little plug to that channel. And I hope you're having a wonderful day. As I tape this, it's Saturday morning, a very blustery, windy Saturday morning. Sunny, temperature is already warming up. I'm getting hot. It's in the 60s. It started out in chilly 50s, low 50s. But that's Texas for you. And that's one thing I love is if the sun comes out, it heats up fast. So I hope wherever you are, whether you're in Texas or some other state or part of the world, that you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. God bless you.